Film Club.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Film Club. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Harrison, and with me, as always, it's Andy Donaldson.
Hello.
Every week in Film Club, we invite you at home along to watch a film with us, and this week, we're taking a look at Moneyball.
God, that song is amazing. Moneyball is a film. It's a kind of a biography on a guy called Billy Beane and the Oakland A's in their 2002 season, where they use statistics to help build the team. I'm not a fan of baseball. I don't know baseball, and yet I could relate to this film so much. There was a lot of this film that I had. I love this film. I love it. How did you find this film, Andy?
I was really interested from the get-go because this was a film directed by Bennett Miller.
Who did Foxcatcher.
Yeah, you and I spoke about Foxcatcher ages ago, and I absolutely loved Foxcatcher when it came out. Really enjoyed it. And I think, if I remember right, Moneyball is the film he did before Foxcatcher.
It is.
It's also written by Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorkin is one of the finest writers, in particular, one of the finest dialogue writers working today.
Just Social Network.
And it's shot
you got the third one.
by Wally Pfister. I was sitting there watching this. I didn't know this until afterwards. I was sitting there watching this film going, do you know what? This has like a sort of an air of like a Christopher Nolan film from this era. Turns out, it's Christopher Nolan's cinematographer, Wally Pfister. So the production team behind it is absolutely incredible. I do genuinely think that Foxcatcher is up there in terms of one of my favourite sport films. Moneyball follows, interestingly, a more traditional narrative in terms of like telling a sports story. But a lot of the time, what I really liked about this film is it tends to set up the sort of cliches you expect and then completely just subvert them. It, like, rather than ever really giving you much character behind the players and the team, it's not about them. It's about the thoughts and the minds and the management behind the scenes. And that's what gives Moneyball its unique voice.
This puts the emphasis, as you said there, into management and into data. And there's really cool scenes. He said he can't build a team. I think there's like a head scout was having a go at him and goes, you're going to fail. You can't build a team off data alone. And he's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Again, running back to that underdog, running back to that unorthodox techniques that, pushes them forward.
There was the first time they start talking about boiling players down into statistics and figuring out, like, giving them various values and numbers. And you get Jonah Hill bring up a couple of, like, the spreadsheets and charts that he's working on. And at that point, Natalie turns to me and went, I see why Andy likes this film.
So just for a bit of clarity, I'm a data analyst and I love sport. So it's like it's a marriage of two things that I absolutely adore. And so as soon as Jonah Hill brings up the spreadsheet,
I can see you salivating at it.
But then it brings on the players, and it's the way that Jonah Hill's narrative goes over the players, and he goes, look at this guy, and he's so-and-so, and he's actually one of the most undervalued players in the league. And obviously you have the contrast of that when you go the baseball kind of commentary that goes over it, whether it's about Billy Beane as a kid or whether it's about all these other factors, the Oakland A's and their success.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, because that whole thing, that audio design is maybe my favourite thing about this film. The way in which what they'll do is they'll mix in like the shoutcasters, they mix in that with like the crowd, with some of the baseball being played. And then they also mix in like either some of the dialogue that's going on over people. Sometimes they mix in like various news reports and interviews that are going on. And it makes this audio collage. And it's sort of like, I guess, putting you into that feeling of a media whirlwind that they are sort of experiencing.
Composed by Michael Danner. There's a score behind this film, but they also really reused this song, and it was him that implemented it. The Mighty Rio Grande by This Will Destroy You. I haven't heard a song work so well for a film as it does with this, and it really leads the scenes forward. I have a personal love for this film, and my personal love comes from I love football. That amazing turn of events that led it into a film actually happened in UK football. A team called Leicester City. In the 2015-16 season, they defied all odds, 5,000 to 1. They were in the bottom of the league. They won the league next season.
Moneyball is based on a book. Technically, I guess it's based on real events. But those real events were actually written into a book by a guy called Michael Lewis. It's technically what the film is based on. Michael Lewis, by the way, looks like Woody Harrelson's long-lost brother.
With hair.
With hair. Two things. First,
Go on.
Jonah Hill constantly, at the moment, is impressing me with how willing he is to underplay a scene.
I know, he's. I think this is one of the film that really exemplifies his depth.
Jonah Hill, we've seen time and time again, can do comedy, and he can do big comedy, and he can do like sort of scene-stealing, very center of attention comedy. He's taking roles that are just so understated, and he plays them so well. I'm really genuinely impressed by him.
By the way, the way he transforms from the start to the end, like at the start he comes across very formal, but towards the end you can actually feel him part of the team, and his attitude towards the players, and he's so much more confident in himself, like both in terms of how he dresses, but also how he performs. It's great.
If you want to talk about underplaying a performance, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
God, my God, yeah. He plays Art, the manager, the actual on-game manager. Sublime.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Like he's really not in it much at all, but it's quite a transformative sort of performance for him. It's very unusual. He feels so comfortable in it. And then the big one, really, this is a little bit of a vehicle for Brad Pitt.
He is so good. He's so good. Like, we've seen him in many, many different films. You know, you go from like Fight Club to all these others. But then you have films where, what was that one I really dislike, but also Brad Pitt's really good in it, by Terrence Malick, Tree of Life. You see Brad Pitt with a range of performances, all about depth there with Jonah Hill. Brad Pitt just kills it. He's so composed throughout this film. It's the way he handles scenes. It's his presence. He's never intimidating in this film, despite being a GM. You know, one of the guys is paying everyone. He's got his vision and he goes for it, and he's willing to bring everyone on, but at the same time push people away.
Love the scenes where it's him and his daughter as well. When he goes and takes her to buy the guitar, and he sits and listens to her sing, and then later on, obviously, the film ends with him sitting in the car listening to the recording of her singing again. And
she actually recorded that song for the film, and it appears in the soundtrack and the credits. Keris Dorsey, who plays Casey, his daughter, and she does it so well. And those scenes, they come together and have that like really quite heart-wrenching scene. She's like, "You're not going to get sacked, are you?" And all this. And it's like when it all coming to his testing times and his persistence. But yeah, their relationship is superb, and that end scene, it's brilliant.
So anyway, there is Moneyball. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of Moneyball, or you can hit us up on Twitter, as always. But Andy and I are going to be back once again next week, where we're going to be celebrating Groundhog Day.
What day was that? Can you repeat it again, please?
Groundhog Day.
Sorry, can you repeat that again, please?
Groundhog Day.
Sorry.
Oh, we couldn't have. That's going in the shame pile right there. So until then, get watching.